Hey, winners, Kevin Ward here. I had a great question by one of you about for sale by owner objection, and that for sale by owner objection is basically the for sale by owner says I'm already getting multiple offers on the property. Now, if you're in a low inventory market right now, for sale by owner puts it on the market, he may get some offers and he may get multiple offers. So in this case, the agent is saying that they're getting multiple offers. Some of them are getting multiple offers off and over what they're asking, and some of these offers are from agents with buyers, and obviously the for sale by owners are feeling great because of all the action they are getting. And so the question is, how would you handle this conversation? Well, here's the first thing you've got to know. You've got to identify, is this at a condition or is this an objection? And by that simply means if they've got great offers on it and they're going to accept one of them, it's a condition. You can't overcome that as an objection. In other words, there's not something you can say that's going to get them to say, "Oh, well, then I'm going to, talk about listing it with you." They've got a bird in the hand, however good or bad it is, or whether you got multiple offers, that's something pretty solid. So what you want to identify is, are they telling you the truth, number one, and are they telling you the whole story? So the way you do that is just by asking questions. Now remember, with a for sale by owner, you never make them wrong. You've got to be on their side. You've got to be celebrating with them so that when they say, "Oh, but I appreciate you calling, but if you got a buyer, bring them, but we've already got multiple offers. In fact, some from agents and so forth. So you already got multiple offers. Congratulations. That is awesome. Now, have you already accepted one or counted them? Where does that stand in the process? Get more information from them. Okay. If they say, "Well, we've already got a couple of offers." Oh, you've already got a couple of offers. Good for you. Now, are they from agents or are they just from individual buyers? Now, you're looking for one thing very clear here. If they're not from agents, if they're just from individual buyers, now I've got a little bit of a hook. So let me ask you this: if we could get you some multiple offers from uh, buyers that have agents who are willing to pay more for the property and probably net you more in your pocket, would you be open to something that might get you higher offers? Now, that would be one end that you could take to get a conversation going. If they don't have agents that are submitting these offers, because they may have 3 or 4 offers from people that are going directly to the seller, and they're probably getting low offers. Now, here's the reason they get low offers: because there's no commission involved in the seller's mind and in the buyer's mind. And the reason the buyers go to for sale by owners is to get a deal. They think they can do the commission. So what's happening is everybody's trying to negotiate down. Okay, the buyers, everybody's negotiating against the seller, and the seller's trying to negotiate down. And here's what I mean by that. Let's just say that they do have an agent that's bringing the buyer. Okay, well, what's the buyer's goal? Get the best possible price, lowest price. So they're not wanting to negotiate down. What's the seller's goal? They want to get the best possible price too. So how are they doing it when they're for sale by owner? They're trying to negotiate the commission down. So the thinking is we're always negotiating down rather than negotiating up. Well, if you want to get top dollar for something, you do it by establishing value and negotiating up, not negotiating down. And this is what a lot of for sale by owners don't understand is they're getting limited exposure of their property because no matter how good they can expose it, most of the qualified buyers are working directly with agents. And those agents are getting all their properties from the MLS. They're not going to Craigslist to find properties. They're not going to newspapers. They're not driving around looking at open houses. They're not going to those places. They're going to the MLS. And if they have when they have discount brokers that are putting it on the MLS, for example, flat fee listings that in some markets they have where a for sale by owner pays $400 or $500 or $300 or $200 or $1,000, whatever it is, they pay a flat fee to have it put on the MLS, but the for sale by owner is actually going to be the one receiving offers, reviewing them, countering, negotiating, and so forth. A lot of agents don't want to work directly with the seller just because they don't know what's going on in terms of they don't do this regularly. And so there's there's a lower chance that they know what they're doing, more higher chance that the deal will fall out, unrealistic expectations, unrealistic demands. Agents just don't know a for sale by owner is an unknown quantity. And so agents will shy away from a for sale by owner because one, they want to get paid and they don't for sale by owners don't want to pay a commission. So guess what? A lot of times you run into conflicts where the for sale by owner doesn't want to pay at closing, or they're going to come back. And if there's any issues along the way instead of negotiating between buyer and seller, a for sale by owner wants to negotiate on the agent's commission. And the agent's providing a service, and that's how they make a living, and that's how they get paid, and they provide a service of value. And so whenever you're dealing with a for sale by owner who's trying to always beat the commission down, a lot of agents just won't mess with a for sale by owner because they don't want to deal with the hassle. Now, in a low inventory market, every seller has an advantage, including for sale by owners, because there's less supply. So there's people are forced to go to the ones that are available, and sometimes that's a for sale by owner. Now, if you've got a for sale by owner where you've got a lot of offers, and there are some by agents that are actually bringing buyers, they may be getting good offers and the best price. Okay, we don't know because we don't know. There's nobody representing the for sale by owner. The do-it-yourself concept is you're using your expertise, your intelligence, and it may or may not be good. You may get lucky. The for sale by owner may get lucky. The for sale by owner may know some stuff, but they are still not going to get full exposure. In any market, if you want to get maximum value for a home, the way you do that is giving it maximum exposure. So if he's getting multiple offers as a for sale by owner, imagine what kind of action he could get and what kind of offers he could get if it were exposed to all of the buyers, and especially the qualified buyers working with agents who are willing to pay full market value for a property. And that's what typically the for sale by owner is missing. So what you do is if they have only one offer, or if it actually is not an offer at all, and you ask them, so if you guys, is it, when they say, well, we've already got an offer, we've already got it sold. Oh, great. So if they say we've got it sold, you want to clarify. Great. So you guys have already signed and accepted a written offer, correct? And they say, well, we're going to be getting together tonight to do the paperwork. Okay. They don't have an offer and they don't have it sold. Okay. They have a buyer who's saying they want to buy it and they're going to meet tonight to go over everything. Okay, good. I'm going to follow up tomorrow. Okay, if they do have offers but they haven't accepted one, great. Have you countered? Have you already or have you countered the offers? Kind of where does that stand? And they'll typically tell you because they think you may have a buyer or whatever. I don't never tell somebody you may have a buyer for their property unless you are specifically contacting them because you do have a buyer for their property. Because if you ever tell them that, what you're just training them is, you don't need to hire an agent. You don't need to list your home with an agent because I'll bring you my buyers. You're training them to work without you, to do it yourself. And that's not in their best interest because they're still only getting exposure to your buyer rather than exposure to all their property, exposed to all the buyers on the market. And this is the biggest strategic and tactical mistake that for sale by owners make, is they think they get more money by doing it themselves because they're not paying the commission. What they don't understand is that when you expose it on the open market, which the only way you can do that is through the MLS and through a good agent representing you, who's going to do more than just stick it on the MLS. That's a whole different conversation. But that one thing alone has huge value of getting it exposed to all the qualified buyers in the market who are willing to pay fair market value for a house and aren't bargain hunting. They're not looking for they're not the bargain hunters. Bargain hunters are the ones that for sale by owners typically attract. And so it's just a big disadvantage. So what you want to do is just ask questions along the way to find out what is actually happening. Do they actually have multiple offers? Oh, great. So you have multiple offers. Good for you. Now, have you already countered some? Have you already, or have you accepted one? What's the update status on that? Great. And if they say you want to find out, so are some of the offers from agents, or are they all just from individual buyers? No, 2 of them are from agents and 2 of them are from individual buyers. Great. So you sound like you got some pretty strong offers on there. Hey, let me ask you a question. If we could expose your property in a massive blitz over the next few days and get it exposed to even more buyers and get more multiple offers of people that are willing to pay top dollar for the property, and you could actually net more money in your pocket, is that something you'd be interested in? It's hard for them to say no to that. Okay. Now, when they're going to say no is when they really feel like they've got a deal, they've got a good offer that's really high priced and so forth. And it may be a condition, not an objection. But if you'll ask that question, they may say, well, let me see what happens on these and so forth. Now, here's the magic. Follow up. You congratulate them. You're glad things are going well for them. Great. Well, if I can help with anything, let me know. And then let's say today is Friday. On Monday, I'm going to call again and just say, hey, just wanted to touch base with you. I talked to you on Friday. You mentioned you had multiple offers. I wanted just to see how that was going and see if you had any questions at all or anything that I could help with or any information I could get for you. And whatever they say, great. So how's it looking? How are things going? What's the latest? And anything I can do to help? Great. If everything's kind of fallen through, it's kind of simmered down. Well, we only have one offer really that came in. Da 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 da. So it's really down to just one offer. Ooh, I understand. So let me ask you a question. If I could help you get some massive exposure on your property and get it exposed to the buyers that are willing to pay top dollar, and we could actually get it sold for you in a way that would net you as much or more money in your pocket than you could by doing it yourself, would you be open to talking to me about it? Some ways we might can make that happen for you. And again, whatever they say, you're just going to lead through that conversation. Now, use the regular for sale by owner script to find out what their motivation is, why they're selling, how soon they want to be there, what's their motivation, and that's going to have a lot of bearing on whether or not you can actually get a listing and actually help them sell the property and get top dollar. But the reality is, stay with them, follow up with them, even if they say they've got it executed. Call them back every week and just touch base with them and see how it's coming along. Because the reality is, a lot of those contracts, the buyer's going to fall out and they're going to have to start over. And by then, they may be going like, you know what, we should have an agent, because if we had somebody that knew what they were talking about or could have found out what this buyer was really doing or really like, we could have avoided all this. So at that point, they're ready to hire an agent. And that happens a lot. So stay with it. Lead follow-up is key with for sale by owners. Don't completely buy into their story, because even though they believe it, even though it looks good, anything can happen. And if you're the one there in touch with them, following up with them, that's been professional, and you've been on their side the whole way through, not helping them do it. I mean, you're not giving them free service, but you're saying, hey, is there anything I can do to help? What information can I get for you, and so forth. That anything you do, you're leveraging that to actually get an appointment with them, so you can actually show them the value that you can bring to the table, which make a huge difference for them. Hope that makes sense. Listen, it's out there. The opportunities are out there. Engage those opportunities, play to win, and always expect yes.